All right, next is public speakers.
Members of the public who wish to testify have up until 24 hours before the scheduled start of the meeting to register in order to do so. Speakers will have 3 minutes to address the board and will be alerted when they have 1 minute time remaining, 30 seconds remains, and when time is expired. Translation services are available for this meeting. If you need assistance, please put forth a request in the team chat or see a staff member in the boardroom. Persons authorized to provide public testimony shall not use vulgar, abusive, discriminatory, profane, or otherwise inappropriate language. Failure to act appropriately or failure to adhere to the time requirements may result in expulsion and disqualify the person from providing future testimony. We have a number of public speakers this morning. If you can line up at the mic here. First public speaker is Grace Pye. Grace Pye. Following Grace is Litzy Luvic Karasanako. Please proceed.
Good morning. My name is Grace Pye, and I'm the Executive Director of Asian Americans Advancing Justice Chicago. I'm here in support of Commissioner Morita's resolution for Asian American data inclusion. Representation really matters in data collection. Without an accurate assessment of our demographics, we lose sight of the unique challenges faced by different communities. Asian Americans are the fastest growing racial group both in Cook County and across the entire country, both by percentage. Yet data shows that Asian Americans remain underrepresented in leadership roles, elected office, and the state and federal workforces. Data allows us to recognize that these issues exist so that we can develop policies and initiatives to address inequities. The data that does exist challenges many common assumptions about Asian Americans. For example, research from Pew shows that income inequality is wider for Asian Americans than for any other racial group. This means that the gap between the wealthiest and poorest Asian Americans is wider than any other racial group. I would take a guess that this data is surprising to many in this room. Comprehensive data collection is crucial to be able to equitably access resources, to be able to equitably allocate resources. If the data shows that Asian American communities are receiving assistance or accessing government programs at a lower rate than other racial groups, we have to investigate why that is. And we can't know if that's occurring without collecting data. And lastly, while including data on Asian Americans is vital, it's equally important to have ethnic breakdowns whenever possible. Asian Americans are not a monolith. For example, 10% of Asian Americans in the US live in poverty. But for Burmese Americans, this number is nearly double at 19%, and nearly half for Indian Americans at 6%. This shows the disparities that exist even among different Asian ethnic groups, meaning that any policy or initiative addressing policy should take this into consideration when allocating resources. In addition, this shows that when Asian Americans are aggregated into a single category, we can inadvertently hide the struggles of different subgroups within that community. Collecting Asian American racial and ethnic data can only help Cook County do a better job of addressing the needs of its residents. So I urge the board to support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker, Litzy. Are you in the room? Thank you. Please proceed.
My name is Litzy Ludwig Kurschingel. Chicago City is my forever home since 2013. As a Democracy Project Research Fellow at the South Asian American Policy and Research Institute, I work closely with the South Asian community. Today, I'm here to support the resolution for Asian American data inclusion. If you ask me to recommend a good South Asian restaurant for your butter chicken or kebab, I have a long list for you. But on the other hand, if you ask me the demographic profile of the workers who work in those restaurants, I would be blinking my eyes because I have no access to any Cook County data specifically on Asian American or South Asian Americans. Now, are they being paid minimum wages? What is their household income? Do they receive social protection services? How many South Asian businesses thrive in Cook County and enhance Cook County's economy? Can we incentivize more Asian American businesses to come to Cook County? I cannot answer any of these questions without having access to such county-level data. Illinois state-level census data tells us that while 87% of South Asian Americans have income above poverty levels, there exists a substantial number of South Asian Americans who have annual household income less than $35,000. Another 10,000 people with annual income less than $60,000. The heartbreaking fact is that South Asian women in Illinois are poorer than men. How do we address these poverty levels and gender disparity within ethnic population in Cook County if we do not keep disaggregated data in the county? The county will be inclined to believe the stereotypical assumption of South Asian Americans that they are all financially affluent, while a deeper look at the data, state-level data, shows that it is not. The census data tells us that the Asian American community represents the third largest single racial group in Illinois after white and black Americans. The South Asian American population in Illinois represent about 42% of state's Asian American population and 2.5% of the state's overall population. The largest number of South Asian Americans in Illinois live in Cook County, about 166,308 people. In Chicago City alone, there are about 58,000 people. So it is imperative that Cook County creates disaggregated data on South Asian Americans. My humble plea to the Cook County Board is to vote aye to the resolution for Asian American data inclusion because we comprise a community of interest, a rich resource towards county socioeconomic well-being, while being a huge part of our community rightfully deserves targeted social protection services. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public speaker is David Lee. David Lee.
Hello again to some of you. Good morning. My name is David Lee, and I am the Social Impact and Policy Officer at the Chinese American Service League, otherwise known as CASTLE. As a member of the Pan-Asian Voter Empowerment Coalition, also called PAVE, I am testifying on the need to collect disaggregated data on Asian Americans in Cook County. May, as many of you know, is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and some of you may have seen the displays on the elevators coming up. Despite the celebration of racial and ethnic diversity, most of the data on more than 50 ethnicities that comprise what's often called Asian Americans at the local, state, and federal levels is collected in aggregate form. This important demographic data is used for purposes this board knows all too well, like the response to the COVID-19 pandemic or for redistricting associated with the decennial census. And unfortunately, labeling Asian Americans as one big group strips communities of their rich diversity and masks valuable information contained when data is aggregated. This leads to unknown disparities that feed into false narratives, such as the model minority myth, which assumes that all Asian Americans are successful, well-educated, polite, active contributors to society, when in fact collective Asian Americans have the highest income inequality, as Grace had mentioned prior. As someone born and raised in the U.S., I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and asked, "Where are you from?" only to be followed by, "Your English is really great." So what now? In 2022, CASTLE launched the Change Insight Initiative, a national collaborative of 30 Asian American nonprofit orgs and growing, aimed at understanding the unique needs and risks of underrepresented Asian American communities. Since its inauguration, we've collected data on over 8,000 community members served by our collaborative partners. Top 5 communities for 2023 sample: Chinese, Asian Indians, Filipinos, Pakistanis, and Koreans. Among those, language barriers, upward mobility, and mental health concerns were some of the most commonly cited factors. As mentioned prior, also through the other testimonies, Asian Americans are the fastest growing race or ethnic group in the U.S.
30 seconds.
9 states currently require disaggregated data collection on Asian Americans. For the 409,000 Asian Americans who call Cook County home, data disaggregation is part of the antidote to dismantling inequities in every area of life. This legislation brings us closer to reaching a goal of having quality disaggregated data in the public domain for efforts impacting the Asian American community. We need this type of action at all levels of
Time
government.
has expired.
And
Please
I'm
conclude your
heartened
statement.
that Cook County is leading the way. Your consideration is appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public speaker is May Singapursuth Alirad. May?
Hello, can you all hear me?
Please proceed.
Hello, my name is May Sangpursuth Alirad, and I am the Executive Director at Lao American Organization of Elgin. When my family resettled in the northwestern suburb of Chicago in September of 1989 from the country of Laos as a result of the Vietnam War, I was 4 years old. When I started kindergarten the next year, I had to make a very important decision. I had to decide if I was Black or white. Although there were other Asian American students at my school, I figured they also had to make this very important decision. Looking at my skin color, I wasn't as light-skinned as my white friends, but not as brown-skinned as my Black friends, so I concluded that I was white. There were no educators who looked like me at my schools, no actors who looked like me on cable TV, and no politicians who looked like me when making decisions in my community. Now in 2024, we have come a long way. There are Asian American educators, actors, and even politicians. I am very proud of how far we have come, yet there is still so much more progress that needs to take place. We can start by collecting and including Asian American data in all Cook County reports and presentations. This will allow the Asian American community to be represented and to be seen. Through the data sets, we will be able to have a voice. Through the data set, we will be able to see what areas we are excelling in and what areas need support. Through the data set, we can make a positive and lasting change in our communities for our children and grandchildren. Please vote in favor for Asian American data inclusion. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Todd Thielman.
Good morning. President's gone. I see that there's an agenda item for a resolution item to end the tipped wage ordinance. I wish government would stop hiding what it really is. It's an attempt to end the cash exchange between customers and servers in order to increase tax receipts. It's going to happen in two ways. Higher prices increases sales taxes, and higher hourly wages increases wage taxation. Ask the industry workers what they want. How about a resolution that would help Cook County taxpayers? That would be a resolution to eliminate property tax appeal board appeals for commercial property values over a certain threshold in Cook County. PTAB only became available to Cook County in 1995 when the Republican majority legislature passed it. That fact alone should help this body get on board. The assessor is in support of ending PTAB for commercial properties. Do you know that about 95% of PTAB cases at the Board of Review are settled through negotiations? This is very subjective, and the benchmark is 50% of the ask. An example would be if the property owner wants $50,000 and the Board of Review wants $100,000, they usually settle at $75,000. Is that success? I don't think so. It's budget season again, and Board of Review Commissioner Larry Rogers will come begging and crying for more money. His many friends on this board won't push back. I'm thinking of you, Stanley Moore. You're not here. I wish you would. I'd love to just speak to you directly. You're the guy who appealed assessment with the Board of Review and received a reduction last year. Of course, this came at a price. Rogers had you sponsor the amendment to the Board of Review 2024 budget. They added 4 administrative assistants at an average salary of $114,000. Does this body know that 90% of the 150-some people that work at the Board of Review still work from home 5 days a week? Some from faraway places, even other countries, as was the case with Commissioner Steele's data expert. In order for the central business district to recover, we need people. There is safety in numbers. It also helps the area businesses and transportation agencies. In order to file a PTAB appeal, a board review appeal is required. Thousands of board review appeals are filed without evidence. The only note on the file says, appealing to preserve the right to file a PTAB. Such a waste of time, and it inflates the board review appeal numbers. Another justification that Rogers will use for more people. Not sure if anyone noticed, the Board of Ethics Chair Jamba is no longer part of that body. That follows Van Matthews and Antara Nath
30
Rivera's
seconds.
resignations. The board now has 3 vacancies and can't meet under the Open Meetings Act. As far as Ramba, it looks like the FAA settlement with Boeing is blowing up. And since Ramba was the head of internal investigations at Boeing, it's likely he is facing some heat. Good riddance, Ramba. You were a corrupt member of that board. I want to let President Preckwinkle know that I am available to fill a vacancy on the Board of Ethics. My resume speaks for itself. There has been an internal infestation of illegal immigrants to our country, state, and
Time
county.
has expired.
You all sit by
excuse me.
idly while your replacements are pouring in. You better start paying attention.
All right. People in the audience will be respectful. Keep your seats and be quiet. All right, who's next?
Our next public speaker is Teresa Hughes. Teresa Hughes.
Commissioner Quesada, I agree with you. What's said here is appalling. However, they have the right to say they wish.
Please proceed, ma'am.
Oh, me? Okay. Hi, good morning. My name is Teresa T.J. Hughes. I am a resident of the city of Chicago. Good morning, Madam President, Commissioner Lowry, Commissioner Daly, Commissioner Gaynor. I'm here today because my issue is the fact that the black contractors in the city of Chicago are not getting their fair share of all the contracts let in the city of Chicago at 2%, which is like ridiculous. The Hispanic numbers are at 30%, and the Asian numbers are just less than 7%. I can't figure this out because 30 years ago, when I was working in the city government under Mayor Washington and Sawyer and Mayor Daley, the numbers were much greater. I don't understand how they have dropped so low, and there's nobody doing anything about it. Not one black commissioner, alderman over on the city has responded to me. I have written letters to the mayor. I have written.
Sit down, Mr. Blakemore. Sit down.
He's standing up.
Sit down, Mr. Blakemore.
I don't feel like sitting down. Now I'll come out when I get ready to speak. I don't have to sit down if I don't want to. You're not my mama.
No, I chair this body, though, and you'll behave while you're in it. Go ahead, TJ.
Okay.
She don't make no room for you seated.
This is my second.
All right, TJ, I apologize.
Thank
Please
you.
continue.
Thank you. Anyway, on the black contractors, I have been an advocate for my people pretty much all my life. My mother started me out in politics when I was 16 years old. I've been on both sides of the field, Republican side and the Democratic side. And my issue, as I said, is the fact that my own aldermen over in City Hall, not one of them that looked like me has responded to my inquiry. This morning I met with Commissioner Lowry, and he has agreed to meet with me at his earliest convenience to try to work something out. And I had to come all the way over to the county to get that. Madam President, I would appreciate it if you would also be a part of that meeting with Commissioner Lowry.
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, and then the second thing I want to acknowledge, which is really a little bit different. My mother, Gertrude W. Jordan, was HUD regional administrator under 3 former presidents. She, along with President John Stroger and Commissioner Bobby Steele, who was formerly here, also had impact in Providence Hospital. That's been like forgotten, but
30
those three people
seconds.
did a lot to make sure that that hospital stayed in our community. I am available also, like the gentleman said, to work with the city's procurement department, and I'm hoping that Eileen Velasquez will be put out because she is not doing anything positive for us. She won't even come into our community. Now, what's
Time
up
is
with that?
expired.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Our next public speaker, Zoe Lee. Zoe Lee.
In order to fight the city of Chicago and Cook County, you must turn into a devil and a gangster disciple because the level of corruption is insane. So let's get into it. Toni Preckwinkle, or shall I say Toni Reed, do you not care for black people property ownership or generational wealth because you lost your condo in Hyde Park due to your son's reckless behavior? Or is it because maybe your daughter-in-law is facing a murder charge in Atlanta? Does DCFS have your grandkids? Because I'm concerned. As the Cook County president since 2010, why do you continue to let these white developers, with the help of Cook County and city employees, play with our deeds? Why do you continue to turn a blind eye when it comes to our black property-owned issues? What was the detail that emerged in Ed Burke's federal case that identified you as the beneficiary of this $10,000 shakedown of a Burger King owner? What was the most money you received from selling out your own people? Was it that $116,000 that you had to give back to Burke once he got indicted? Barack Obama didn't endorse you in 2019 for the mayor candidate. Is it because he knew you weren't to be trusted? Why are you a house nigga at the age of 77? Like, how do you make it this far in life and continue to sell out your race? You do know this is black on black.
This person.
We suggest that we.
You will leave. That's enough. Would you remove the woman from the body, please?
I am.
Would you read the rules, please?
I will. Just a reminder to our public speakers, persons authorized to provide public testimony shall not use vulgar, abusive, discriminatory, profane, or otherwise inappropriate language when addressing the board. Failure to act appropriately or failure to adhere to the time requirements may result in expulsion from the meeting and or disqualify the person for providing future testimony.
All right, we'll take a quick recess while this person is removed. Would you remove this person from the audience, please?
All right, if the commissioners could return to the room. Commissioners, return to the room. Return to the chamber.
police to arrest us.
Budget plan shows that you're anti-black.
They're talking about mental health.
Without paying homage for the rights that you have shows that you're
And black
anti-black.
people got mental health problems. Then these
We can't
illegal
run to
come
another
in
country to
and
get
take
rights.
over.
Not once did they speak of us.
You got no leadership. One of the leaders should have checked her. One of these black commissioners should have checked her.
Who is next?
Our next public speaker is George Blakemore. George Blakemore.
Thank you very much. The month of May, mental health. Is something wrong with black people? Something happened. Hell. Truly, when you see another people coming in getting things that you can't get. And Miss Hugh, young lady, you know I told you, could you be seated? Oh, thank you.
Please address the.
All right, I'm addressing the issue, sir. I've never seen anything like that, like this, with all these black faces in high places. You're supposed to help us. Is something wrong with us? All of you voted for a sanctuary county. And for these illegals coming in the health and hospital system. Then had nerve to get the sheriff to want to arrest a citizen for speaking. Well, I'm going to use, they didn't bully me, I'm going to use the N-word. I'm going to use the N-word. That's what happened to us on the plantation. And we must purge ourselves of this. We got black faces in high places, and we're at the bottom of a social, economic, and a caste system. In a caste system, you truly have mental health, my black brothers and sisters, to let another group come in and move you out. There's something wrong here. You have no leadership. You have black faces in high places that don't represent you. I wore this red hat. Well, Biden's a racist. All right?
One
Well,
minute.
they say Trump is too. Go red. Go red. All of these are Democrats that arrested her and that are abusing us. Try a little tenderness and change your mindset. Go here on your way to Freedom Land. On your way to Freedom Land. There's something wrong here. Something evil here. Something corrupt here. The audacity. You sit down.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Mental health, something wrong. Something happened to the black man's mind on the plantation. The white man turned them into an end. Purge yourself of end and will become strong black men and women. Strong black men and women. Thank you. Thank you. With your auntie mama, then I break a rule.
This county will, and I'm proud to say, has always served anyone coming into Cook County Hospital, and we will continue to serve no matter what their status is.
Our next public speaker is Jessica Jackson. Jessica Jackson.
Do it, Jessica. Turn it out.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Jessica Jackson. And it's a shame that Toni Preckwinkle is not in here because she's the lawbreaker. She's the lawbreaker. Toni Preckwinkle is sitting here watching black people's property being stolen from Cook County with the assistance of Cook County officials. We've been coming here for almost a year. She knows everything. She knows how these public administrators are stealing property through the probate division. She knows about it. And she's refusing to do anything. Instead of stopping this, She's leaning on the fact that the taxpayers are paying for it because there's unlimited resources to let cases go on and on and on. Now, they're going to sit in here and they're going to talk about how the criminal justice system is unjust and how the criminal justice system needs to be fixed, when the reality is it's the civil justice system that's just as crooked, if not worse, because that's how they kill us economically. The majority of us will never see a jail cell, unlike the hype is. But we will get into a civil case at some point in our life. And the fact that they steal and lie and cheat and commit fraud in civil cases and nothing is done about it, so that they can rob us economically, they can take our property, they can make us pay money that we don't owe, they can keep us from getting money that is owed to us. And it goes on and on and on with public officials doing it, with Toni Preckwinkle knowing everything about it. So the audacity of her to be offended because somebody called her what clearly she is. Because what black person in their right mind, including the one sitting in here right now, would sit here and listen to the fact that black people are losing their properties illegally to Cook County and not do anything about it while they sit up here and go hard for a bunch of illegal immigrants to have somewhere to live. It's a disgrace, and it's more than a disgrace. And the fact that all of you all sit in here and promote her and had audacity to address her as Madam President, it's the same vile thing that makes you vomit when you go into a courtroom
30
and you see
seconds.
those crooked judges and you're forced to acknowledge them as your honor.
Our next public speaker is Mr. or Mrs. Blade from Foundational Black American Lineage. Please proceed to the mic.
Mr. Blakemore, if you continue to disrupt, when someone's speaking, you will be removed from the board. You were, yes, you were not, you were jumping up and down, so you have a warning already.
Can you please proceed to the mic? Thank you.
Good morning, Chicago. My mic isn't on. I can't hear myself.
It's on.
Hello? Okay.
Please proceed.
Okay. Hello, my name is Switchblade. I am a foundational Black American, which means my lineage came from slavery, which means that my people built this land and my people alone. No immigrants built this land, but yet we have a president that likes to lie to American citizens and saying that immigrants built this country. America would have never been America if it wasn't for the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors. I just wanted to state that for that purpose. And I wanted to get into some of what these speakers are saying about mental health. Black Americans have been the biggest group on mental health since the beginning. We have been deprived of all of the resources that we have earned, and not only for us, but for other people to enjoy. So when I see that I have Black representatives in my community and they're not speaking up for us, they're not even trying to have an anti-hate crime bill, not trying to give us reparations, not trying to do anything right or punish those people who are anti-Black. So the only thing they want to give us is symbolism and saying, oh, we're sorry for slavery. But there is no reparations check. Oh, we're sorry for all the oppression. But we're not going to build you no home. In fact, the homes that you do have, we're going to take that from you and give it to this other group who we feel that we're going to do as a buffer class. So the only thing that the Democratic Party for the past 60 years of Black people voting has given us is symbolism. So I would like to return the same favor. Let me give you some symbols of who you remind us of, a Black Klansman and a Black Klanswoman, because those are the only kind of Black people that they put in power to make sure that they undermine our community. They have the few token Black people that say, oh, we're going to do something. You could empathize with us, but you already made a pledge to your master to empathize, but don't promise us a thing. And I have seen that over and over again in our society. Another thing I would like to mention, because I heard some people say that the Asians wasn't getting enough. They was in 10% poverty. Well, across the states, Black folks is at 60% poverty. So how did that happen? So And then on top of that, the Asian community, when it comes to the credit score, they have the highest credit score out of all the groups that's in the credit bureau. So again, I'm just appalled of how many other groups of people
30
are
seconds.
entitled to put their rights over ours. And if it wasn't for us, y'all would have never had rights in the first place. So this year, this election that's coming up, the black community is demanding that the Democrats or the Republicans give us some tangibles, and if not, you're not going to get a vote. No check, no vote. All of you all need to show our ancestors some respect and cut us our reparations check.